You're listening to Flaunt. Find your sparkle and create a life you love after infidelity or betrayal. A podcast for women who've been betrayed by their intimate partner and want to turn their devastation into an invitation to reclaim themselves and their worth. Tune in weekly so you can start making sense of it all and learn how to be okay on the inside, no matter what goes on the outside. Download your free Betrayal Recovery Toolkit at betrayalrecoveryguide.com.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Have you been struggling lately? Relationship issues impact every area of your life. When I found out about my husband's infidelity, I was so devastated. I could barely function. Sleeping was impossible because I couldn't shut off my brain. Eating was a challenge because I felt nauseous all the time, and for the first month or so, everything felt pointless. Whether you're having trouble sleeping, feeling hopeless, or just can't focus, BetterHelp is here to help you. BetterHelp offers licensed therapists who are trained to listen and help. You can talk to your therapist in a private online environment at your convenience. There's a broad range of expertise in BetterHelp's 20,000 plus therapist network that gives you access to help that might not be available in your area. Just fill out a questionnaire to help assess your specific needs, and then you'll be matched with a therapist in under 24 hours. And then you can schedule secure video and phone sessions. Plus, you can exchange unlimited messages, and everything you share is completely confidential. I know that confidentiality was important for me, especially early on when I couldn't even get my own mind wrapped around what was happening. And it was so comforting to be able to speak with someone candidly about everything I was going through, to validate that what I was feeling and experiencing was completely normal. You can request a new therapist at no additional charge anytime. Join the 2 million plus people who have taken charge of their mental health with an experienced BetterHelp therapist. Special offer to Flaunt. Create a life you love after infidelity and betrayal listeners. You get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/flaunt. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/flaunt, FLAUNT. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast. Hello and welcome to Flaunt. Create a life you love after infidelity or betrayal. I'm Lora Cheadle, and oh my gosh, do I have news for you. And you know, before I share this news, I want you to know that I'm really torn between like this big dramatic headline that's clickbait that brings you all in, or a softer headline. The big dramatic headline that's the clickbait that brings you all in is that Shawn and I are done. My husband and I are done. After 6 years, we are done. Now, that's the big dramatic headline. And if you're like, what? Let me backpedal and let me soften that a little bit for you. We are done, but we're not done in the way that you might think. We are done with our soul contract with each other. We are done with this whole infidelity and then post-betrayal recovery and then post-betrayal transformation. Like, we are done with all of that, but we are not done with our relationship. And I'm going to go deeper into that because a lot of this is about soul contracts and karmic relationships and things like that. And it's my guess that most of you are like, what does that even mean? Lora, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Okay, here's what I mean. A soul contract is a contract between two souls to grow, to evolve, to learn something, to become something because of your interaction with each other. One of my favorite songs is the Wicked song, Because of You, I Have Been Changed for Good. And that's what a soul contract is, basically. It's coming together, having a contract with another soul to interact with each other to the point that you both have been changed for good. You have both learned something, you have both healed something, and you have become something that is better than you were before. And a lot of people going through infidelity or betrayal have some sort of soul contract going on. And what I want to say around that is this is not just a happy little story. This is not just like, oh yeah, well, your soul wanted to evolve, so I just went out and cheated on you so you could learn how to step into your own power. And it's not something like that. This is deep. If you have a soul contract, if you're in a karmic relationship with somebody, it just feels different. It feels sacred. It feels powerful. It feels like you are being led to and through your experiences in an entirely different way than you feel with most other relationships. I'm going to say so much about this. This is such a deep show, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of schema on the outside. What is the soul contract? It's a soul contract that you have with another soul to learn, to grow, to evolve, it's alchemy. It's alchemy. It's that you two can come together and alchemize into something different. It's that you can take all of the crap that's happening and you can turn that crap into gold. It's literally turning that crap into gold. Another way of saying that is a karmic relationship. And why I don't like saying karmic relationship, because so many people think karma, like, well, you did this and you're going to have bad karma because you did this, and then you're going to be punished, and then I'm going to get something good, because that's not what I'm talking about. It's the balancing of understanding. It's the balancing of spiritual growth. The karmic relationship, like a soul contract, is coming together to work out unfinished business, to take care of things that you still need to take care of to and through each other. And I also want to say it doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are or your spiritual beliefs are, because this isn't about religion. This isn't about spirituality. This is about the soul, the heart, the inner workings of you and your relationship and your place on the earth and on the planet at this time. So let me go into the story now that we've got a little bit of a background on that. Way back when Shawn and I first met in law school, I saw him walking across campus on the very first day of law school. And I literally heard a voice say, "That's the man you're going to marry." And I thought, well, that's really odd and unusual because I'm engaged. I'm engaged to somebody else. So it's really, really odd and unusual that I would hear that. But I heard it very strongly in my ear, in my head somewhere. And as I got to know him, I did pay a little bit of attention to it because I was like, oh, well, that's unusual. That's never happened to me before. As I got to know him, I found out that he too was married. And it was like, well, that's a crazy little voice, but whatever. We went on that year. His marriage had been falling apart. It was one of those starter relationships right out of college, where it's your college girlfriend and boyfriend, and you're like, I don't know what else to do. Let's just get married because now we're moving on. So they had just gotten married and moved on. And the man I was engaged to was same thing, my college boyfriend. And the reason we had gotten engaged was pretty much the same reason, that, yeah, well, now that college is done, I think we have to move into the next phase of our life. And that should include getting married and getting engaged, right? So over the course of our first year in law school, I broke things off with my fiance, and his relationship with his wife. It had already been disintegrating. They started divorce proceedings. So I thought that was interesting because I had heard that voice and I'm thinking, well, maybe we will get together. That's kind of crazy. And sure enough, when we came back to school for our second year of law school, we started dating pretty much right away. We had been friends all the first year, supported each other, had a great time. So we started dating that second year. And what was really interesting about this whole experience, why I'm talking about the history of all of this, is it felt different. It felt different. I had had a fiance before, he had had a wife before. Our relationship felt different. And it's hard to put into words why it felt different, but we both felt called to this relationship. Neither of us were really looking to go date some more. We had just gotten out of relationships. We were not looking to date, but we felt called to date. And the connection that we had with each other in so many ways almost seemed too good to be true, too perfect to be true. One of our first kind of dates, we sat down and we jokingly have called it the interview. We had the interview with each other. Like, what do you want out of a partnership? What do you want out of a marriage? How do you want to raise kids? How do you want to do things? What's important to you? What are your values? What are your dreams? What are your goals? And we were in complete alignment with each other. And it was almost like, that's almost comical. How could that match up so well? How could this be? So fast forward, we had problems in our marriage. We were very good friends. We had a ton of fun together. We loved laughing together, but we had problems in our marriage. As I have explained in the past shows and past episodes, and he has explained too in our joint episodes, I thought marital problems were normal, that people fight and they repair, that people are busy and distant and disconnected, and it's okay because they come back together. And based on his past, he didn't feel that way. He felt every single time there was a rupture or a fight or something like that, he felt high levels of stress, high levels of anxiety. He thought the whole marriage was crumbling and that it was not okay. And then I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, it's normal. Relationships go through up and down, whatever. So we were having these interesting disconnects. Yet, at the same time, we never really wanted to leave each other. And that's what's crazy about the infidelity. When we've talked about it, he would cheat because he wasn't happy, because he was insecure, because he thought I was going to leave, because of all of these different reasons. And infidelity was such a quote unquote perfect outlet because he didn't have to leave that way, because he truly never wanted to leave. And I know a lot of you often say things like, how can he love me and still cheat? Let me just tell you, if he didn't love you, he'd leave. If he didn't love you, he'd be out of here. If he didn't want the relationship to work, he would leave. And I know it's twisted. And you know what? Humans are kind of twisted. And I know it doesn't make sense. And you know what? Humans oftentimes don't make sense. When you're cheating, there's that half in, half out. There's that, this is my life over here, and then this is my life over there. There's that weird, convoluted space of not being in and not being out all at the same time. And it's just, I almost was going to say it's wrong, and it's wrong, but that also puts judgment on it that I don't want to put judgment on it, because again, most people don't cheat because they're bad people. There are some bad people out there. Most people cheat because they're hurt. Most people cheat because they're wounded. Most people cheat because something is wrong with them, and it has nothing to do with you or hurting you or not wanting to be married or anything like that. So back to this. We never wanted to leave each other. He would pick huge fights. He would be a total jerk. When he was going out to cheat, he would be awful. And yeah, I had moments where I was like, I need to leave him. This is ridiculous. But I didn't want to leave. And there is a difference. I want to speak to this. There is a difference between not wanting to leave because you're afraid to leave. And there's a difference between not wanting to leave because it just doesn't feel right to leave. And you know what? There's both. I didn't want to leave because it's scary. I didn't want to leave because I had done some divorce work before and I didn't want to go through that. I didn't want to leave because I didn't want to upend my family. I didn't want to leave for all of these reasons that, yes, absolutely have to do with like, I'm afraid and I don't know what to do. And what is this going to look like on the other side? And I don't want to let go of something that I know in favor of something that I don't know, because what if that thing that I don't know is worse? So, yes, that's a part of it. But when I would talk myself through that, when I would start digging deeper, what was underneath that was the sense that we're not done yet. We're not done yet. And I don't really know why. And you have to honor that. That has to be honored as well, because if you're not done yet, you're not done yet. And sometimes we don't know what that means or why. And having gone back now and unpacked that with each other, he kept having that same sense too. He kept feeling like, I'm not done. I don't want to leave. I'm not happy. I don't know how to solve my problems, but I don't want to leave. So those are some of those pulls, some of those strange differences with a soul contract or with a karmic relationship. You know, you're not done. You know, you're not done. And I've said this before too. When I found out about the infidelity, trickle truth, like so many of you, you find out about one. My husband cheated with 5 different women. You find out about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pretty soon you're like, oh my God, are you kidding me? This can't even be real. When I found out about 1, I was like, we're done. When I found out about 2, we're like, we're double done. As I started finding out more, like 3, 4, 5, it brought me in because it was like something is wrong. This doesn't make sense based on who we are, based on who he is, based on all of this. None of this makes any sense to me. And I kept going back to that feeling inside that we're not done. We're not done. And I don't know what that means, but I know that we're not done. And I've ridden this train for a long time now. It's been, 6.5 years, ridden this train for a long time. And it's been kind of disturbing to me. Honestly, it's been disturbing to me. The last few months, I felt like we're done. For the first time in our 29 years of marriage and 30 some years together, I've had this internal sense that we're done. And it really scared me because I didn't know what that meant. And I mean, I thought about all of you too. Like, really? What does that mean that I'm giving you hope for this relationship, but there's something inside of me that says I feel done? And then I'm like, no, honesty and integrity and authenticity. I have to share what I'm feeling. But then I was thinking, I don't want to share what I'm feeling if I don't have a conclusion around that, because I don't even know what that means. So what does that even mean? And how would I share something, and why would I share something when I don't even know what it means? So I was like, okay, just sit with this. And then same thing, all of those fears would come up. What would life be like divorced? What would life be like separate? How is this going to work? Is that what I want? And I kept feeling like, no, that's not what I want. And then I would talk myself through it. You can do this, Lora. It doesn't matter. You will be taken care of. You'll find love again. And I think, yes, I will. And yes, I can do this. And yes, I know I can create goodness, but it's not what I want. But I'm done. We're done. And I didn't really know what that meant. So I just kept feeling it and processing and connecting to spirit and praying and meditating and dancing on it. You know, I'm big on the somatic stuff. I've been dancing a lot of it, walking it, thinking it. My shower is like my special connection time to my guides. I would go in the shower and just stand there and connect with my guides. My guides are called the librarians. And if you don't know, I do a weekly channeling with wisdom from the librarians, and it's called Coffee with the Librarians. And I post it on Tuesday on Facebook. So if you're not my Facebook friend, find me, Lora Cheadle, life choreographer, on Facebook. You can also just hop on YouTube and you can subscribe to the Coffee with the Librarians channel. Anyway, little side note there. Tons of time in my shower, meditating, talking to the librarians, trying to figure this out. And I couldn't quite get it figured out. 2 weeks ago, my husband, Shawn, and I went to Santa Fe for a retreat. And Santa Fe has got some incredible energy. If you haven't been there, I recommend going there. And I'm going to be having a retreat there next year. And you're not going to want to miss it because Santa Fe is actually, the land carries the energy of truth. And when Shawn and I had been there a couple years ago, I don't think we were really ready to face the truth. And I kid you not, the land kicked us off. We were kicked out of Santa Fe. That's a whole story too. It was 2020 and it was our 25th anniversary, wedding anniversary. And everything was shut down. And we're like, hey, we're 5-6 hours away from Santa Fe. Let's drive there. On the way down in early September, it started snowing. And we're like, well, this is insane. And then we got a call from our Airbnb that the toilets had overflowed and that the truck couldn't get there to clean it out. So even though we were on our way down, we had no place to stay. And we found a hotel and we stayed there. And then our Airbnb people said it's going to be one more day. And they were super nice and super accommodating. They were going to give us the whole rest of the time for free. But we were so radically uncomfortable there. We were like, let's just turn around and drive back home. And we did. We literally turned around and drove back home because we were so viscerally uncomfortable with the energy around Santa Fe. And at the time, I didn't know or understand that Santa Fe was the land of truth. And it makes sense. We weren't ready to see the truth. We weren't ready to face that truth. You know, I always say betrayal uncovers the truth, not only about your partner, but about yourself, about the things that are coming up to be healed, about the things that it's time for you to see that you might not really be ready to see yet. And that's what happened to both of us. I think we were not ready to see the truth about ourselves, our relationship, and really what was going on. So midway through this retreat, I just kept having that strong sense. We're done. And the guy leading the retreat, it was the Lee Harris energy retreat, was talking about soul contracts being done and how when a soul contract was completed, it meant you had learned everything that you needed to learn. The contract terms were complete. Well done. Check it off. Contract is dissolved, resolved, completed, and it's over. And I kept thinking, you know what? That's really interesting because Shawn and I are both lawyers, and obviously we both love contracts. And yeah, sure enough, we have done so many things contractually, and you check off each item. I did this, check. I did that, check. I learned this, check. I understood that, check. I know how to communicate in this way, check. I've developed empathy, check. I've check. I have stepped into my power in such a deeper way. I have really understood how I am a creator of my life and my life experiences, how the way I feel and perceive the world is a choice, and it's up to me. And I've really also had to deal with, what's even the right word? When you kind of like blame somebody else. Yeah, it is blame. When you're like, yeah, well, if my husband would just pull his stuff together, well, yeah, if this just hadn't have happened. When we blame other people, we're just stepping out of our power and we're staying stuck. And I would think about all the years where I would stay stuck because my husband's a jerk. My husband's not coming to the party. I'm so put upon. I'm taking care of everything. But I wasn't owning my power and I wasn't speaking my truth. I was just stuck in that kind of victim space of, gosh, Laura, it's so unfair. Your life is so unfair. People don't appreciate you. People don't value you. People don't see how hard you're working. This is so unfair, so unfair, so unfair. And I wasn't taking action. I kept wanting other people to value me, other people to respect me, other people to love me, other people to do their healing so I didn't have to do mine. And there's so many layers there because objectively speaking, Shawn, my husband, came from a traumatic background and he has quote unquote more. He had more issues. He had more healing. He had more wounds. He had more of that. So his were front and center, and mine were more covert, but I still had them. And I think that was the whole point. Like his were so prominent that everybody turned and focused on him, and I, including me. And it's not my job to focus on him. It's my job to focus on me. And I finally learned that. And it took a long time. But it's not about me being the patient or loving mom or wife or a worker or coach or anything like that. It's about me creating my life for me. It's about me putting myself front and center in my own life because it's my own life. And it's not about selfishness. It's about me owning my power because I get one life and I get to choose how I feel and think and perceive and behave in that life. And if other people disagree, it's the blessing and releasing. So anyway, back to contracts. It's like I learned all that. The beginning stages of affair recovery were so focused on him and his trauma and his inability to identify or express his emotions or to communicate or to use different tools, and rightfully so. And he's done all that. And it was also a time of growth for me, and I did that. But this is that real deep soul growth. This is that deepest level. We fixed everything on the surface. We fixed everything just below the surface. We fixed everything way under the surface. And now we healed at that deepest soul level. And I'm going to say more about healing at the soul level because this is just something that I'm really stepping into. We talk about healing our lives and healing our bodies and healing our emotions and healing our minds. And that's really important. But what I want to say is you have to heal at the soul level too. Souls can't get damaged, but boy, do they get bruised. And healing at that soul level is what I strive for and what I want you to strive for as well, because it's more than just moving on. It's more than that. Healing at the soul level matters, and that's what sets you free. Okay, coming back to the story, because these were all of Lora's internal thoughts that were going on. We're at the retreat, and Lee Harris is talking about soul contracts ending and relationships ending, and I just kept thinking we're done. So halfway through, we went out to dinner. We had time for a nice dinner. And we sat down at this restaurant in Santa Fe, and I said, I just had to bring it up. I turned to him and I said, I don't want to insult you, and I don't really know what I mean by this, but I feel like we're done. And he smiled and he leaned in and he looked at me and he said, I know. And I was on a hike a week or so ago, and I feel the same way. And I didn't want to insult you either. And I didn't want you to freak out. But yeah, we are done. And just then, just at that moment, our wedding song, our 30-year-old Sade wedding song, No Ordinary Love, came on the radio in the restaurant. And it was like, are you kidding me? Why would Sade's No Ordinary Love be playing in a Mexican restaurant in Santa Fe 30 years after it came out? None of that makes sense. So we really started laughing, and it felt so true. It felt so right. It felt so freeing. I tell you, I don't think I have ever felt quite that free to have that discussion. And over dinner, we talked about, what does that even mean? What do we want? And it was scary, because I kept thinking, I don't really want things to change. I don't want things to change, but I want everything to change. And how do you communicate that? And what we decided is we love each other so much. We want to be together. We want to do life together. We want to share life together. It's just that we want to redefine what, not even what marriage means, what marriage, what yes and no. It's not like we want an open marriage. We don't. We don't want a divorce. We don't want to live apart. We want to still be each other's person. We want to keep growing. But there's that push against each other that's gone. It's just gone. We've done the work, we've done the learning, and we no longer need to challenge each other in that way. And even though infidelity has been a huge topic of conversation, and even though we've both really truly healed from it and moved on, it's almost like it disappeared on a whole different level. It's almost like a dream that happened in the past that you go, oh my God, remember that crazy dream? Yeah, do you remember? Oh, I was so emotional. I was so upset. I know. And I felt so, it almost feels like that. It feels surreal. It feels like it is so far in the distant past that it's not even capable of touching us. Whereas before, it felt like it was in the past and it felt like it was over, but it still felt like it was real. And after this, it just doesn't even feel real. And I know that's a little awkward and hard to explain, but it doesn't feel real. Anyway, we kept talking about that and we just kept feeling so good and so free. And the whole somatic thing, it was like it came off the back of my neck, it came off the shoulders. It's the pressure to learn and the pressure to grow and the pressure to figure it out and the pressure, all of that pressure is gone. And we just get to enjoy each other. And it's like from this point forward, it is pure enjoyment. We can be in joy. We can learn lessons from others and in other ways, but between each other, that's over. So we had a great dinner. We went back to the conference. My best friend had gone to the conference with us. And we walked into the next event with her. And she's like, And we said, we have to tell you something. We have to tell you something. And I said, and before I tell you, I just have to say, it makes me cry. You have been here for every significant moment in my life. You know, you were my maid of honor. You were my birth coach. You were going to be there when my kids were born. I ended up laboring and delivering way too fast, so she couldn't be there. She got there late, but you were there. You were there for every significant moment. You were the one that I called when I found out about the infidelity. And I can't wait to tell you, and Shawn can't wait to tell you. We're done. Our soul contract is done. And she's like, I know. It doesn't surprise me. I kept feeling that same thing and it feels so good. And I'm so happy. And you two are glowing. And this is so amazing. And it was like, we were all smiles and we were all joy and we were all pure love birthing in this new experience. And then, same thing. She had all the different questions. What does this mean? Are you divorcing? Are you having an open marriage? And we're like, no, no, no. Nothing is changing. We're more in love than before because we did it. We're in celebration. We're in joy. We are in high fives. Well done. Let the celebration and the party begin mode. And then when we came home, we sat our kids down and same thing. We're like, we have something to tell you. And they had the same response. I mean, obviously they had some fear. They were like, oh no, what does this mean? What does this mean? And then they said the same thing. You two look so happy and everything feels so fresh and relaxed. Everything feels so good. And it's like, yeah, because it is, because it's amazing. And our week following the revelation, the discussion, was an interesting week because there were some times where we would both kind of default back into quote unquote normal, you know, into times where he would misinterpret something that I would say, or I would misinterpret something that he would say, or I would think, oh, I need to come in and have an opinion on that. And then instantly after that would happen, it was just a different feeling. It was like, oh, that's not my place anymore. That's not my role anymore. That's not our relationship anymore. That's not us anymore. And we've put it all down. We've simply put it all down. And, part of me wanted to wait to do a show to give you a little, like a longer look back period. And then I was like, you know what? No, we're going to talk about it now. We're going to talk about it now in the messy middle. And the reason that we're talking about it now in the messy middle is because if you're anything like me, it's hard to be in the messy middle. I like things tied up in a bow. I like nice little conclusions. I like getting on to the next thing. And when I'm in that middle space, I'm uncomfortable and I'm anxious. And sometimes I can't relax. And sometimes I don't know if I'm doing too much or not enough and blah, 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 blah. But most of life is lived in the middle. Most of life is a transition. And I wanted to just do a show now and speak to you from the heart, from the soul, from the messy middle, that there are things that I know and there are things that I don't know. I know our soul contract is done. I know it feels amazing. I know it feels so free. I know we love each other deeply, probably even more deeply than before, which is amazing because the level of love that we have cultivated and curated over the last 6-7 years is absolutely mind-boggling. How can there be more? And then there keeps being more. We know we want to be together because we are partners. We are soul mates now instead of like karmic twin flames. We are now like into the soulmate thing. And it's more fun because we made this journey together. What does that actually mean? I don't know. Do I have to label it? Not really, but I also sometimes like doing it. But we're staying married because we love each other and we want to be together. Could that change in the future? Anything could change in the future. Hello. I'm a realist. But I don't think it will. He doesn't think it will. And oh my gosh, is this good? Is this a whole new level of good? And that's the other thing. Like, we had the post-betrayal transformation. We reclaimed our marriage and it was good. But this is even better. And this is another level that I just didn't see coming. And that's what I really wanted to share too. There's other levels. This is another level that I didn't see coming, yet here it is. Well, what does it mean? I don't exactly know. How is it going to play out? I don't exactly know. All I know is right now it feels good, and I'm going to stay with what feels good because I'm worth that. It's important to feel good. I'm worth feeling good. I'm worth joy. And I'm just going to stay with this, and I'm going to speak honestly about it. And I'm going to let you know, here I am, kind of in the middle, figuring it all out. And I don't know exactly where it's going to go. And it doesn't matter because I can be happy now. I can be happy in the middle of the transition. And I will be happy now in the middle of the transition. So in the middle of all of this, I had so many deep revelations and realizations. And that's why I opened my new one-year program, The Sanctuary of the Soul, because it's really brought home to me how infidelity and betrayal is a soul wound, and it's also a soul gift. And healing your soul is essential. And learning as a soul and soul growth is essential. And sometimes we need that sanctuary space to relax, to heal, to be with others who totally get it and don't think we're crazy and don't judge us for following our hearts, for tuning in within and doing what we need to do. And I'll say more about the sanctuary in a moment. What I want to talk about now, before I lean into all of that, is I don't care if you stay or go. Divorcing is fabulous. Staying together is fabulous. It's a decision that hardly matters in a way, and I've said that. But what I really want you to know is divorcing doesn't solve the problem. Divorcing doesn't heal the pain. Getting your partner out of your life does not heal. Having the betrayer out of your life is and can be essential. Divorce can be the best thing you have ever done, but it doesn't heal the wound. Getting that person out of your life does not heal the wound. It can make you forget about things. It can make you not address things. But it's not just, bam, they're gone and the wound is healed. You still have to do the work. And so many of my people that I coach really struggle with, do I stay or do I go? And that's such a deeply personal decision. And either way is fine. I am not a proponent of one way or the other. What I am a proponent of is realizing that either way you have to heal. Either way you have to heal. Otherwise, it's always going to be there. You can't just cover something up and be like, yep, well, we're done. It's over. It's not. Either way, you have to do the work, and either way, you have to heal. I say this so often in my shows and to my clients, but it's like when the neighbor's dog comes in and poops on your rug. You can cover it up, but it's still there. You can clean it just a little bit, but there's always going to be a stain and there's always going to be a smell. Or you can dig deep now. You can hire professional cleaners. You can get the right solutions. You can put in the elbow grease and you can clean it to the point that there is no stain and there is no smell. And that's healing. That's healing. And sometimes divorcing is just throwing a rug over the poop. Sometimes just being like, yay, we rebuilt our marriage and it's all great, is throwing a rug over the poop. You have to deal with it. You have to, you don't have to, but if you want to be happy, if you don't want that bitterness, if you don't want fear, if you don't want that, is he going to do it again? What's going to happen? Am I going to find love? I don't trust people. Why is the world so messed up? If you don't want all that emotional pain and reactivity, you have to do the work and get the right tools and hire the right professionals. You have to take care of it. And then it won't matter if you're together or apart because you're healed. New relationships, old relationships made new, whatever it is, when you're healed, it's all okay. And when I have people fill out my coaching application, that's one of the questions. What does healing mean to you? And for most people, they have all these different ideas about what it means, but it all boils down to it's released. It's gone. It's not constantly running in the background. That fear is not, you're just normal again. You're free again. You're relaxed again. And that's truly is what healing is. You're free. You're free to be you. You're free to trust. You're free to show up. You're free to do whatever it is that you need to do. So I just wanted to pop that in. Real quick thing on the Sanctuary of the Soul. It's a year-long program. Every month we have an energy reading. I do the channeling of the librarians for you specifically around soul contracts, around soul growth, around karmic relationships, around where are you? Where's your partner? What is left to uncover? What do you need to learn? What's going on with this relationship? Why can't you let go? Is this a soul reason? Is this a human reason? Is this fear? Is this a mental block? Is this a spiritual block? What's going on? So once a month, we have those readings. So you've got some clarity about what's going on. And then every quarter, we do ritual. We wrap a ritual around this whole year. You get a quarterly full length meditation based on what's going on for that season. And you also get a quarterly dance, both choreographed and free-formed dance, ritual dance, suitable for any body, any skill level. But it's that somatic processing on integrating. My word for this experience is coalesce. We're coalescing everything, the healing energy, the seasonal energy, the soul growth energy. So once a quarter, you've got the meditation, you've got the dance, you've got the ritual practice. Once a month, you've got the energy readings. So you're really in the sacred cocoon, and it's a sanctuary for the soul. And we're really working on going within and healing the soul, because as within, so without. When you are powerful on the inside, your life is powerful on the outside. When you're at peace on the inside, your life is at peace on the outside. And people and things and situations that aren't at peace fall away. And for so many years, I didn't really understand what that meant. But I get it now. I get it now. I used to think like, I'm just going to go be perfect. And then all of these perfect things are going to happen. And woo, look at me be perfect. Why are there obnoxious people in my life when I am so spiritual and I am so perfect? And it's not like that. People don't just fall away. They continue to push until you grow and until your issue with them falls away. People are there like the burr under your saddle, constantly irritating until you take action, until you step back into your own power, until you learn, and then it falls away and it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter that that burr is there because it doesn't impact you. So to say they fall away, yeah, they fall away, but it's your irritation that falls away. And that's what this year is about. In the year, it's only $888 for the entire year. Or you can pay quarterly. It's $230 a quarter, which truly is absolutely nothing. And it's absolutely worth every penny. I am curating this and I am cultivating this. So if you're interested, send me an email, Lora@loracheadle.com, LORA at LORACHEADLE.com. If you get in before the 18th, you can attend our free kickoff event, which is an embodied transitions workshop. If not, you can get the replay. And then in September, we've got a whole different grief release retreat that we're doing virtually. That's also free when you're part of the soul, Temple of the Sanctuary of the Soul. You can purchase those separately, but you just want to be a part of the Sanctuary of the Soul. Trust me on that one. And again, I'm not putting up a landing page because this is personal. This is deep. We just need to talk. We just need to talk. Lora@loracheadle.com, LORA@loracheadle.com. Monthly readings, quarterly rituals, meditation, dance, virtual retreats, all the yummy, delicious nurturing and nourishing of the soul. Anyway, thank you. It's been an honor to share this. You know, our contract is done. We are done. It's over. And we have blossomed and stepped truly into something that feels free, amazing, and new. And for the first time, and I am going to say that for the first time, I'm really excited to see what that means and to see what our next chapter is. Because for 6 years, it's all been about healing and overcoming and rebuilding. And it's been like work, leaning in, leaning in. And now it's done. It's done. It's over. And we have the absolute pleasure and joy of celebrating with each other. And here's the thing, whether you're celebrating together with your partner or whether you're celebrating alone, I really hope, my hope for you, my wish for you is for you to get to this place too, where you can be like, whoa, it's release, it's relief. I truly know it's done. And that's what I want for you. I want that knowingness, that settled, that total settle that it's truly over. It's truly in the past. I have done it. I know who I am. I know how to show up. And I've done this. I can't wait to hear your comments. This has been a big one. Have an amazing week. And as usual, always remember to flaunt exactly who you are, because who you are is always more than enough. Life can really knock you down sometimes, especially after a tough breakup or when someone betrays your trust. It's hard to remember your own value when the people who should have treasured you didn't. But I'm here to tell you that loving yourself again is possible, even after infidelity. It takes time and intentional effort, but it can be done. That's where the Mindful Souls subscription box comes in. It's like getting a monthly dose of me time delivered straight to your door. Inside, you'll find all sorts of goodies: natural crystals, gorgeous gem jewelry, essential oils, and many other pampering tools. It's a nice little reminder that, hey, you do deserve to feel good. I know that most of you are crazy busy. You've got a ton of people counting on you, and taking care of yourself usually ends up at the bottom of your to-do list. But that's what's so great about this subscription. They don't just deliver everything you need for your self-care moments. They also give you real, practical tips on how to make self-care work for you, no matter how hectic your life gets. I've been a diehard fan of the Mindful Box for a while now, so the Mindful Souls family sent me a special treat for all of you. If you use the discount code LORA25, you'll get 25% off your order. That's LORA 25. So head over to mindfulsouls.com and grab your box.
Tune in next time to flaunt, find your sparkle, and create a life you love after infidelity or betrayal with Lora Cheadle every Wednesday at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. Uncover the truth of what's possible for you on the other side of betrayal and develop the skills and strategies necessary to embrace the future and flourish today. Download your free Betrayal Recovery Toolkit at betrayalrecoveryguide.com.